back to our study of reading through the Bible in a year. And in our reading, we come to Numbers 18 through 33. And again, I know this is slow going, but the drama's beginning to kick in now. We're coming to the end of this week, and we've learned that the generation of the Exodus will not be the generation that's going to enter into the promised land of Canaan. Those who were delivered out of slavery with the dividing of the Red Sea, the provision in the wilderness, the food, the birds, the bread, the manna, none of them are going to enter into the promised land because of unbelief and rebellion. The transition is to this new generation starting in chapter 21. These are the kids that grew up in the wilderness wanderings of those 40 years because of their parents' unbelief. Now they move to the plains of Moab. Remember, it's only 11 days from Mount Sinai, where they received the Ten Commandments, to the plains of Moab, which is the gateway into the promised land. But remember, because of the rebellion and unbelief of their parents, that 11 days turned up to be 40 years. So here we are, they're at the plains of Moab, directly east of the promised land. But before they enter into the land, this new generation, they're going to receive some new instructions, a new census. Again, that's why the book is called Numbers. Now there's going to be a second numbering. A second census is taken, and this is where Joshua takes over leadership appointed by Moses himself. Here's what I want you to be looking for this week as you read through these chapters. The Levites are instructed, and these are, again, the ones that are going to serve God, being responsible for the spiritual life of the people. But you're going to see that both brother and sister of Moses, they die. This was part of their consequence of their complaining and joining the unbelief of the previous generation. And then Moses, as you're going to see, blows it here in Meribah. You'll have to read to see what he actually does, but this is when he forfeits his opportunity to go into the promised land. You do know that Moses, even though he received the promise from God, he never received. He was taken up to Mount Nebo, and there the Lord permitted him to die, but he got the chance to see the promised land, but never to enter it. The first generation continues to rebel, and God deals with them with discipline. And you're going to read about the bronze serpent. God's kind, but God can be severe in his discipline against rebellion and disobedience. And the bronze serpent is quite fascinating. Jesus himself in John 3 is going to make reference to this. Then you have a chance to read about Balaam's rebellion. This is kind of almost a funny story, and some people don't believe it's true, but hey, God can do whatever he wants. If he created animals, created human beings, he created us animals, an ability to speak. So why are we so confused that God might give the ability of a donkey to speak? And here Balaam's going to be rebuked by his own donkey. It's a great passage. Now God gives some new instructions to this new generation to prepare them to enter into the promised land. The coming inheritance and the offerings to God, the vows made. Joshua is now appointed to lead and succeed Moses. Midian, one of those surrounding towns there in the Moab Valley, they're judged for harassing God's people. And 2 of the 12 tribes are going to actually settle and have cities, land in Gilead, which is just outside the promised land. But they loved it so much there, they asked if they could have permission to have those portions be their portions. So really only 10 tribes. Now these 2 tribes will come and help battle with their brothers, but only 10 tribes then will go into the promised land, and it will be divided among them. Well, things are beginning to really fly now, but we'll pick it up next week, and you're going to find the reading starting to get a little bit more interesting, isn't it? Remember, study to show thyself, a workman who need not be ashamed of himself, rightly dividing the word of truth. Stay faithful.